webinar to let our travel consultant community in. Welcome, welcome, travel consultants joining us here live on Zoom as well. We are so excited to have you here today. I have Jim Wollenburg here with us. He is the Global Partnership Senior Manager with Wyoming Office of Tourism, and he has an amazing presentation planned for us today. I'm sure you are as excited as I am to learn more about Wyoming and how you can offer this amazing destination to your clients. As you know, with all our webinars, if you have any questions that come up at all through the course of the webinar, please feel free to pop those questions into the Q&A box you see at the bottom. I will be back on at the very end of the webinar to answer any questions that you have on your behalf. So please don't be shy. Use this time to get in touch and make contact and ask those questions about booking Wyoming for your clients. So with that and without further ado, I would like to pass the floor over to Jim. Jim, thanks so much for being here today, and take it away.
Candace, thank you very much. Thanks to you. Thanks to Travelweek. And thanks for everyone that's jumping on either the Zoom call here or the Facebook Live. Super excited to talk to everybody about Wyoming. Like Candace said, I'm with the state office, and so I am lucky enough to be able to promote our wonderful state. So if some of you are familiar with us, fantastic. If not, that's why I'm here. Feel free to ask questions. And yeah, we can get things going, and let me tell you a little bit about Wyoming. So let me share screen here real quick. Bear with me. Okay, looks like we are up and running. And so first, let me tell you a little bit kind of how to get to us, what surrounds us. A lot of folks may not be as familiar with this part of the United States. So Wyoming is surrounded by Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. We list those here in the slide because these 5 states, we actually brand ourselves as the Great American West, and we do a lot of international outreach under that umbrella. So that's why you see those states highlighted there. But then we also are surrounded by Utah, Colorado, and Nebraska. So our gateways are going to be through, primarily in terms of air gateways, are going to be primarily through Salt Lake City in Utah, or Denver International Airport in Colorado. Each of those is a great way to access our state if you're flying in, and it's only about a 90-minute drive to get to those gateway towns. So if you're coming from Salt Lake City, you would travel to Evanston, and that's going to open up kind of the rest of Wyoming for us. That is located in the southwest corner of the state. And then if you're coming from Denver, you would just shoot straight north to Cheyenne. That's our state capital. And again, that's only about 90 minutes southeast corner, and then that'll open you up to the rest of the state. So in terms of the main gateways for air, Salt Lake City and Denver are going to be your go-tos. Otherwise, you can see from the map there as well, very easy to access from Canada. Just shoot straight south. You'll go through Montana, North Dakota, kind of depending where you're coming from, and you'll be able to access Wyoming via the roads very simply. Kind of fun fact about Wyoming is we are the 10th largest state, but the least populated state. So there are less than 600,000 people in the entire state of Wyoming. So it's a great way to just kind of get away from the crowds, get away from the craziness, and be with your family, be with your friends, be with your loved ones, whoever you're traveling with, be with yourself, and just kind of experience that the great outdoors, nature, just kind of get that full escape going. So I have a quick video that will show kind of some highlights of what you can expect when you're traveling around the state here. So I will get that going here right now. So like I said, that video is really there to kind of inspire the travel, inspire the curiosity, and shows a really great kind of depiction of what folks are going to see when they're cruising around the state here. Great way to travel the state is just hopping in a car, hopping in an RV, and hitting the road. That's really what folks are going to be, how folks are going to be moving around the state here. We are known as the cowboy state. So with that kind of comes everything you might imagine with kind of that cowboy culture. Ranching is very, very popular. Rodeo is our state sport. Cowboy hats, boots, you're going to see that all over the state. The beauty of a guest ranch or a dude ranch in Wyoming is we have over 100 of them scattered throughout the state. So no matter where you are in your travels, no matter what region, you have the chance to stay at a ranch and really live kind of that cowboy pioneer type lifestyle. You can see from the pictures here, you can go in a covered wagon and really get that pioneer experience. That picture is actually of my mom and dad. They did a big trip out here, probably maybe like 4 years ago. It was before COVID, and they just absolutely loved it. They lived like pioneers. They slept under the stars. Got a chuck wagon dinner, all that good stuff. So that's a fantastic way to get that cowboy state experience. With the ranches, some can be very, very high end. Think of them as kind of like a 5-star all-inclusive type beach, all-inclusive type resort. But obviously it's not going to be at the beach. It's going to be in the wilderness, going to have a little different experiences, but that's the type of treatment you're going to get with these dude ranches. You'll have farm to table dining, you have private excursions, you can go horseback riding, some offer their own private ski trails. So depending on the level of the ranch, you can kind of be wined and dined, or you can live like a cowboy and get your hands dirty, go fishing, wrangle some cattle, steer some cows, that kind of thing, and just really get that cowboy experience. I mentioned rodeo as well. That is our state sport, and there's none bigger for the U.S. and the outdoors than the Cheyenne Frontier Days. It is the world's largest outdoor rodeo, and it happens the end of July every single year. So it's something you can easily plan your travels around. You know when it's going to be. When clients are coming through the area, you know that last week of July, they'll be able to catch a rodeo. There's also rodeos throughout the summer months in towns like Cody. They have a nightly rodeo every single night of the week. So that's another easy way to get that cowboy experience, get that rodeo culture experience during your travels. You know, if you're in that region, you'll be able to experience a rodeo. With that, we'll go on to some of the more kind of iconic destinations that maybe if folks aren't as familiar with Wyoming as a whole, odds are they've probably heard of some of these next couple of destinations I'm going to mention here. So the first being Grand Teton National Park. Grand Teton National Park is in the northwest corner. You can see from the star there on the map. And it is one of our premier destinations. It's one of our 2 national parks. The other I'll mention here shortly, which I bet if you're on the call here, you probably know what I'm going to mention next based on that. But the beauty of Grand Teton National Park is it's really the perfect setting for nature lovers and the outdoor adventurers. So with the park itself, you'll be able to see animal species, mammal species, you name it. The odds are you're probably going to see them in Grand Teton National Park. There's over 100 mammal species and 400 birds in all of Wyoming. Within the park, odds are you'd have to be there a little bit, but in theory, you could see every single one of those in this region. It's just a mecca for wildlife in this region of our state. The park itself covers over 300 acres of ground. It has everything from lush valley floors, mountain meadows, alpine lakes, rising peaks. That picture there really kind of really does perfect justice of what you'll see in Grand Teton National Park. The only thing missing there is probably a moose or something, maybe a snow owl. But you can also see from the image in the lower left, those kayaks and the boats. You can get out on these waters and experience the park a little differently from hiking the trails or snowshoeing the trails in winter. You can get out on the water, paddle through, be at peace, and really just kind of take it all in. Within the park itself as well, there are 4 lodging facilities in the park, ranging from kind of room-based to cabin-based. And then there's also ample camping all throughout Grand Teton National Park as well. So like I said, it's a great way to get outdoors for that nature lover, that outdoor adventure, and just experience one of our two national parks. The next and probably our most famous is Yellowstone National Park. This too is in the northwest corner, just north of Grand Teton and Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And Yellowstone was the first national park. So a lot of folks may not realize that, but that was the world's first national park. It was designated a national park in 1872, and it's home to the images you see here. So the great picture, the colorful photo in the background there is Grand Prismatic Hot Spring. There's also the Old Faithful Geyser, which is the image in the left. But then some of the other iconic landmarks and photo opportunity spots within the park are places like the West Thumb Geyser Basin, or the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, seeing the Great Falls coming down. That's really what makes Yellowstone so unique, is those worldly known attractions within the park. A lot of folks, what's the stat? I think it's around 96% of visitors that come to Yellowstone don't necessarily get off more than maybe half a kilometer from their vehicle. A lot of them stay on the roads. So the park itself may, you may see a lot of cars. There may be some bison or bear jams, as they call them. If a bison happens to be in the middle of the road, folks will stop. But if you get out and kind of explore the rest of the park, you'll feel like no one else is around. So that's one area that's kind of untapped with a lot of travelers, is kind of the rest of the park. But for good reason. Yellowstone is designated kind of split between two main loops. There's kind of a northern loop and a southern loop, and each one of those are kind of a little more distinct than the other. So the northern loop is where you can really marvel at wildlife. You might see bear, you might see wolves. That's really where a lot of the wildlife photographers go, folks that want to see some more unique wildlife. A lot of them will do the upper loop, go into Lamar Valley and get that experience. Folks that want to see some of the icons might stick to the lower loop and see places like Grand Prismatic, see Old Faithful erupt, see Lone Star Geyser erupt, see Yellowstone Lake. Those areas are going to be more along that lower loop. So you can kind of split your trip into those two loops, depending on what the group you're with, what the family you're with, what you as an individual are looking for. You can split it up and do a day for the northern, do another day for the southern, and then keep on going. If you do branch out into the areas that aren't quite as easily accessed through roads, then you could stay there, an entire week if you wanted. It's just kind of what you want to get the most out of your Yellowstone experience. Within Yellowstone, in terms of lodging, there's 9 facilities in the park itself, with just over 2,000 rooms. And there's also ample camping and RV spots throughout the park as well. So those you can rent ahead of time. Some of the camping areas are dispersed, so it can kind of be first come first serve. You find a spot, you post up camp, and you enjoy your time there. So those are some of the highlights of Yellowstone. And then another of our big iconic destinations and attractions is Devil's Tower National Monument. Like Yellowstone being the first national park, Devil's Tower was the first national monument. This was designated the national monument in 1906. The tower itself is just over 400 meters tall. And it's really just kind of a marvel that you stumble upon. So within this corner of the state, it's in the northeast, as you can see on the map there. This region is in the Black Hills. So it's a lot of rolling hills, but there's not much mountainous areas. And this obviously is a mountain, but it's not kind of an area where you're going to see all these random peaks and towering rock formations. It kind of stands out on its own. You'll be driving, you kind of come over the crest of one of the hills, and then all of a sudden you see this massive structure, and it just kind of blows your mind the first time you see it. And for me, it could be the 100th time I see it. It still always blows my mind. Some of the unique aspects of the monument itself, there's a campground right at the base of the mountain, or of the monument, excuse me, and you can camp there. They do movie showings of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, with the tower in the backdrop. So it's kind of a fun family experience. You can climb the structure itself. The structure is just over 400 meters tall, and climbing it is a big bucket list item for a lot in the climbing world. There's a lot of routes that you can take. There are guide services that you can climb the tower through. So no matter your skill level, the guide services do a really great job of making sure you get that wonderful experience if you're a climber. If you're not into the climbing scene, or you're just not that adventurous like some folks are, some like a little more passive, like to keep their feet on the ground. There's a great paved trail around the base of the tower that is about 1.5 kilometers long, but like I said, it's paved, so it's very easy for little kids, older adults, folks with mobility issues, anything like that. Anyone can experience the tower through that paved path. So there's various overlooks along the path as well. So that's a great way to experience the tower as well. But then one of the great aspects of what brings people to Devil's Tower is when the sun goes down. They have a wonderful night sky program through the ranger service there, and they'll talk to you about the history of the tower, what the tower meant to the Native Americans that occupied the area, what the stars meant to the history of the tower. And you can see the Milky Way, you can see shooting stars. It's just a very, very different, unique experience. With this region in the state, there's very little light pollution all around. So having that full-on night sky experience is something that a lot of folks are coming to the tower to experience. Now, those are kind of big icons. Like I said, those are what folks are typically going to know, recognize, understand when they hear about Wyoming. But some of the kind of off the beaten path, some more hidden gems are going to be these next final slides here. So one aspect of Wyoming that a lot of folks don't necessarily think about, a lot of folks can be averse to cold. I don't think anyone in Canada is on that list, but winter around the state is something that's very unique and can be a very special experience. So the image here that you see is of Yellowstone. A lot of folks think that the park closes during the winter months, which for brief periods in the fall, kind of to winter, and then brief periods from spring into summer, it'll close for some routine maintenance pieces. But otherwise, the park itself, you can stay in the park during winter. From the Wyoming side, you access the park in winter through Jackson and Grand Teton National Park. You'll go in with the snow coach or the snowmobiles that you see in the kind of the lower right image there, and that's what's going to get you into the park. You'll stay at the Old Faithful Snow Lodge, or up in the north part where you're coming from Montana, you can stay at Mammoth. But from the Wyoming side, that Old Faithful Snow Lodge, it's right at Old Faithful, so you'll have easy access to see Old Faithful erupt. And then they do a variety of tours during the winter months as well. You can go snowshoeing, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and still get that Yellowstone experience, but with significantly less crowds. This picture was through one of our campaigns, but it's not odd to see you and your family, or you and your spouse, or you and your buddy, whoever it may be, being at Old Faithful, watching erupt with nobody else around. That's something you really can't say in peak seasons that's going to be the case. So that's kind of that unique aspect of Yellowstone in the winter months. Otherwise, from kind of the rest of the state, winter-wise, you can go dog sledding in winter. You can go to right outside of Jackson, go to the National Elk Refuge and be carted through a horse carriage through a herd of elk, kind of getting within a couple meters away from them, and just have a totally different experience. So winter is something that's very, very unique for Wyoming, kind of a time of the year that a lot of folks don't necessarily think to travel to our area, but it is a fantastic time to come to our area. The Jackson Hole Mountain Resort is a worldwide known and renowned ski resort, great for downhill skiing, great for downhill snowboarding. Teton Village makes great for après-ski. So that winter culture, that winter offerings for Wyoming is huge. Another great time to come to Wyoming would be the fall season. So, families are kind of done with their summer break. Winter hasn't quite hit yet, hasn't really started snowing. You can get around very easily. You don't have to deal with the snow melt. So There's a lot of opportunities to travel throughout the state very easily before it starts snowing, or after some of the more crowded areas kind of ease up a little bit. So fall would be a great time to come visit as well. And then, like I said, the off the beaten path, kind of the hidden gems, the different activities and experiences you can do in Wyoming are very abundant. So I'll kind of start with the slide deck here. But the image you see here is the Astoria Hot Springs. It is in the northwest corner of the state, just south of Jackson. You can see it's right along the riverway here. They have 4 different pools, 3 of them you can see here. They have a cold plunge, but hot springs are actually something that expand all over the state of Wyoming. So some will be in that northwest region, like I said, like Astoria here. But then there's also Hot Springs State Park in Thermopolis. There is the Saratoga Hot Springs and Hot Springs Resort in kind of the southeast portion of the state. That's something that a lot of people don't really know. They don't know about our hot springs. They don't know about those healing mineral waters. And it's just kind of a great way to get out, break up the drive, go for a soak, relax, and then either hunker down for the night, go grab a bite to eat, or get on with your journeys. The other image here is the Kilpecker Sand Dunes. It is a living sand dune, so that means it kind of shifts with the climate, with the earth movement, all that. So it's constantly moving. It's a living sand dune, but it's nothing else you would think would be in Wyoming. It's about 45 minutes north of Rock Springs, Wyoming, which is kind of southwest portion of the state. But you go north, you drive past some petroglyphs that you can go out and experience and kind of get that history, get that Native American culture experience, and then go to these dunes, and you can sandboard there. You can get on a side-by-side and drive around. But you can see from the image, it looks like you're at a beach somewhere or the Sahara Desert. It doesn't look like something you would normally expect when you think of Wyoming, but it's here, and it's pretty incredible. Another is digging for dinosaurs. So the clip here is from our YouTube series called Howdy Neighbor. I encourage everyone to check it out on our YouTube channel. There's a playlist for Howdy Neighbor. There's 5 episodes out there right now, but they all kind of showcase a different region, different county of the state, and different things to do there. One of which is digging for dinosaurs. There's a lot of dinosaur digs throughout Wyoming, primarily in the southeast corner and in Thermopolis as well. There's a great dinosaur center and museum there. And yeah, you can dig for fossils. The beauty of that experience is once you open that up, if you happen to find something, you're the first person that's ever seen that. So there aren't a lot of experiences where you can say, I'm the first to do X, or I'm the first to see Y. Digging for dinosaurs and the fossil experiences that we have in Wyoming is one of those experiences. With some of the quarries that you go to, you can actually keep the fossils that you find as well. If it is something like earth-shattering, like never been found before, a different species, they're going to make you, kind of give it back to the museum, but it will be yours. So you can still say, I was the first one to find this. So it's a very unique activity for folks to do. Great for families that are traveling around the state. We have 21 scenic byways, 12 state parks, tons of outdoor national forests, recreation space, all that. So the state parks are a great way to experience that those outdoor attractions and the outdoor adventure without going to some of the more popular areas. So with there being 12, odds are if you're around the state, you'll be in a county that has one of them, or you'll be at least close to. So you can get out there. Some have boat rentals you can do. Other, you just get out, go for a hike, grab your mountain bike, go for a ride. But the state parks are a great way to experience that outdoor adventure and just the outdoor space that Wyoming is known so well for. So that's kind of short and sweet. Those are some of the highlights. Those are some of the hidden gems, some of the things that maybe folks don't necessarily think about when they think of Wyoming. But as you can see from the imagery, from the video, we are a very beautiful state. There's a lot to do. It is that outdoor driven traveler that comes to our state. We love having them, but you can also hang out in a downtown and have some great culinary experiences. You can go to museums, all that kind of thing. So it's not just go, adventure. You can take your time, you can experience Wyoming, you can live that cowboy lifestyle, kind of anywhere you are around the state. You can kind of choose your own adventure, if you will. So my information is there. I would love to hear from you all. Feel free to jot down that email address. And then you can also find me on our website, travelwyoming.com. We have a staff page. Feel free to reach out, ask questions. Would love to hear from you. But yeah, that is Wyoming. Thank you all so very much for taking time of your day to learn about us.
And thank you, Jim, for being here. That was a wonderful presentation. So many things I didn't know about Wyoming. I am one of those ones that didn't know about the hot springs. And I'm like, ooh, I like that.
Yep.
So many great experiences to be had there. The digging for dinosaurs. I have 2 young boys. I know they would absolutely love to, yeah, get in on something like that for sure. So thank you for sharing all of that with us. Yeah, a few questions here. The first one was around groups. So if we have travel consultants who are booking large groups in Wyoming, like a big family or a business group or something like that, and they just need some help with some questions around bookings, etc., would you be the contact for them to get in touch with?
So you can certainly reach out to me, but we actually have a person that's dedicated to motor coach and group travel.
Oh,
Her
awesome.
name is Amy Larson. She's the expert in that. She goes to the trade shows. She knows that world very, very well. She would be the one that would kind of help coordinate and answer those questions. But certainly reach out to me, and then I would put you in contact with Amy. She's also, if you go to our website, travelwyoming.com, you can go to our staff page, find her information there as well.
Okay, travelwyoming.com. We'll include that for you, agents, in the follow-up, so you have that on hand and you can get in touch that way as well. Okay, thanks for that question or that answer, Jim. The next question I have is around travel agent rates and FAMs. Is there a time of year where our Travelweek readers can possibly access like discounted rates so they can come and see Wyoming for themselves? Or is there ever a time where Wyoming hosts FAMs for travel agents where they can come down in a group and learn more about selling the state?
Sure, definitely. So from the FAM side, we're very open to FAMs. We had, I think, 17 or 18 this past summer. It's ramping back up from the past couple of years. But yeah, we're very open to it. You can always reach out to myself if you are interested in a specific FAM, and we can get that ball rolling. We can start those conversations. From the booking side of things, from the state side, we don't really have a portal for something like that. That would fall more within our individual partners and individual communities to reach out to talk to about rates, that kind of thing. But if you are interested in a FAM, hit me up. We can get the conversation going and see what FAM would make sense, what your clients are looking for, and then try to cater that to your needs.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that answer. That is for sure helpful for our community.
Right.
The next question I had was just around, I know you talked a lot about the different seasons. So winter versus summer, and what's great about coming in winter and as well summer. And of course, as Canadians, we travel in both seasons, through all seasons, because it's something that we're used to too. But what I was interested in knowing as well, and what I'm sure our readers will want to know more about, is high seasons versus low seasons. So if they have clients looking for a less busy time, both in the winter and the summer or whatever months, versus the higher seasons when it's like really busy there, what would you say those are for Wyoming?
Sure. So for kind of low season for summer would be more towards that August time period, kind of the second half of August. Families are kind of getting back in school. They're kind of done with their summer trips. So some of the iconic destinations see a little less traffic during that kind of late August period. In winter, honestly, outside of the Jackson area, just because of Jackson Hole Mountain Resort and their great ski resort, the rest of Wyoming is pretty open. You don't necessarily have a big peak season in the winter versus slower season. It's fairly steady. There are some special events throughout winter that might, depending on the community, that might see an influx of people. One that comes to mind, there's an event called ski joring that they do in various communities. Around those weekends, you might see an influx of people. But even then, it's not going to be anything crazy. You can still get into restaurants, find some hotel rooms, that kind of thing. So winter is fairly steady. Summer, kind of that late August time would be the best if you're looking for that summer. If not, fall, spring are going to be a lot more open.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. That just helps clarify things in terms of our consultants and when to book, depending on what their clients are looking for. Last, I wanted to ask, when you have visitors come, what do you say to them are some of the absolute must-see? So you shared so much with us, and I know there's so many things to see there, but
Sure.
we always love to hear that insider information and some of the faves of our presenters.
Sure. So if they're coming, so our office is based in Cheyenne. That's where I live, the state capital. If they're coming just to Cheyenne for a weekend or something like that, or even a week, I always take them to the Terry Bison Ranch.
Okay.
It's super unique. So you go to the ranch. They have a restaurant. They have a little gift shop. You can camp out there, that kind of thing. But then they have all sorts of animals on the grounds as well. And it's called Terry Bison Ranch. So as you imagine, they have a bison herd right there. Well, the owners of the ranch years ago built a train track system that goes through the grounds and
Oh,
goes
wow.
actually through the bison herd. And you're on these homemade train carts, and you can actually feed the bison out of your hand, which you can't do anywhere else. Don't do it in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
No matter what videos you see, don't do it in
Yes.
Yellowstone.
Yes.
But yeah, you can actually feed the bison straight out of your hand. You're in the cart. They come up to you. They put their big, huge sandpaper tongue out. You drop it in, and they'll hang out there until we leave. They kind of know it's feeding time. It's safe. Everyone's in the carts. The pellets are kind of like their vitamin supplement kind of thing. So it's a way to keep their herd healthy and safe as well. So yeah, it's just a very unique, cool experience that you really can't do anywhere else, that at least I know of.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely.
yeah,
That does sound very cool.
yeah. If they're coming to Cheyenne, that's always kind of a must do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in Alberta and we have bison here too, and I know you can't get that close
Yeah,
to them for sure. So
exactly. Right.
yeah, that does sound amazing. So wow, what a
That's
great some great insider info there. Thank you.
sure.
Um, yeah, I think that is it for our questions today. Before
Okay.
we sign off, is there anything else that you wanted to add or say or share?
Yeah, nothing. I could go on and on. I love talking about Wyoming. I love representing the state of Wyoming. Just again, thank you, Travel Week, very much for this opportunity, and thank you to everyone that joined on either Zoom here or on Facebook. Very appreciative for you taking time out of your day to learn a little bit about us. So thanks again, and hope to hear from folks.
Yes, absolutely. And with that, I just like to say on behalf of Travel Week, thank you very much for being here and offering all this fabulous information on Wyoming to our consultant community. And travel agents, as always, thank you for being here. As you know, here at Travel Week, we are dedicated to providing the very best information so you can book amazing holidays and travel product for your clients. And with that, I would just like to say to Jim and to all of you, have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, afternoon, depending on the time zone you're in. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much, Jim.
Thank you. Bye all.
Okay. Bye-bye.